I want you to know that there's a real possibility that President Trump will revalue gold, which would give the US government billions, if not trillions, of dollars. Now, the government could use that money to pay down the national debt, to start a sovereign wealth fund, or fund any or many of President Trump's programs. Now, before you say that sounds crazy, I want you to listen to this. So this gold revaluation, it's legal and it's been done before. And if it happens, of course, the price of gold would absolutely skyrocket. And I want to break this down for you. Okay, so what is gold revaluation? So I want to explain to you like this. The US government holds 261 million troy ounces of gold. Okay, so how much is that gold worth? Well, it depends on who you ask, because the US Treasury officially values this gold at $42.22 an ounce. However, the real market price of gold right now is close to $3,000 an ounce. So based on the government's accounting, their gold is valued at around $11 billion because, again, they're valuing their gold at $42.22 per ounce, when in reality, the true value should look closer to this, closer to $784 billion. So gold revaluation is when the government revalues the gold that they're holding. Okay, so what happens if they do this revaluation? So you see how the value of the government's gold holdings went up by about $773 billion. So the US Treasury would issue a gold certificate to the Federal Reserve for $773 billion. And in exchange, the Federal Reserve would send the Treasury $773 billion. And that $773 billion that the Treasury receives would not be a loan. It doesn't add to the debt. It's money free and clear. But ultimately, this would be an accounting move, which would create billions, if not trillions of dollars out of thin air, without raising taxes, without cutting spending, and without borrowing a single extra dollar. Now, I want you to know that in order for President Trump to do this, he'll need congressional approval. However, this has been done before. So in 1934, gold was revalued from about $20 an ounce to $35 an ounce. So that single move created massive liquidity, for the government. It devalued the dollar and helped stimulate economic recovery during the Great Depression. And then in the 1970s, they did it again, twice. In 1972, the price of gold was raised from $35 an ounce to $38, and in 1973, it went up to $42.22 an ounce. So that is where the official price is today. So this idea of gold revaluation, it isn't new, but it's, of course, been a long time since they've done it. But listen, I want you to think about how big this could potentially be. So gold is valued at approximately $3,000 an ounce right now, right? So that would give the US government an extra $773 billion. But what if gold went up to $5,000 an ounce? Or how about $10,000 an ounce or $20,000? What if the government manipulated or squeezed the price of gold much higher? You have to think about it. For every $4,000 an ounce that gold goes up, it gives the US government an extra $1 trillion. So if gold goes to $72,000 an ounce, it would give the US government $18 trillion. So that's enough to wipe away half the US national debt. If gold goes up to $144,000 an ounce, then you just wiped away the entire US national debt. So would there be consequences if gold went to $144,000 an ounce? I'm sure there would be, but the US national debt would be wiped away to zero. And here's something really interesting. President Trump has already talked about doing a full audit of the gold in Fort Knox. So some people think that this could be the first step towards a revaluation. So the last full audit of Fort Knox was in 1953, so that's over 70 years ago. Since then, we've only had spot checks and photos, so that's not a real form of verification. And now Elon Musk and Doge, as you probably heard, they're trying to get involved, saying that they want to personally inspect the gold. Okay, so why now? Why the sudden push for an audit? Could this be the setup for a revaluation? Now, let's talk about what would happen in terms of the consequences of if the government does revalue gold. So first, I'm going to say that it depends on how much gold gets revalued for. So if gold gets revalued at today's market price, so let's just say $3,000 an ounce, it wouldn't turn the markets upside down. So I'm sure that we'd see a nice spike in the price of gold. And the government, yeah, they would receive an extra $773 billion. But in the grand scheme of things, that's not a game changer. The US government's going to run a $2 trillion deficit in 2025. But if the government revalues gold at $3,000 an ounce and it spikes gold to $4,000 an ounce, and then the government revalues gold shortly thereafter at $4,000 and it spikes gold to $10,000 an ounce, and then the government revalues gold at $10,000 and it spikes gold to $20,000 and so on and so forth, in that type of scenario where gold is at $20,000 an ounce and the government receives an extra $5 trillion, then yes, of course, the consequences will be bigger. But essentially, it's going to depend on the ultimate revaluation price. But with any of these decisions, what they plan on doing, there's going to be pros and cons. So here's what the critics are saying. In terms of the pros, they're saying that this is a legitimate tool for monetary flexibility, that it's going to provide the US government with additional funding without printing or borrowing. And there's a theory that it will bolster confidence in the US dollar by associating with gold. But then you have the other critics that are saying that this is a bad idea because they're saying that this is accounting manipulation rather than sound fiscal policy. They're saying that this move would undermine confidence in the US dollar and that this is reckless monetary expansion. Now, I want to share with you my take, so my opinion on this whole situation. So I will say, I've said this so many times, the US government has a debt crisis and the situation is not getting any better. A lot of people believe that President Trump is going to balance the budget. I would say that's very unlikely to happen. The government's just passed the government funding bill for 2025 and there were no spending cuts. So from my point of view, the debt crisis is just going to get worse. But when you're looking at this, all I can say is that desperate times call for desperate measures. So I believe that yes, this gold revaluation option is on the table. I don't know if they're going to be going after $773 billion or if they're going to be going after trillions. But regardless, this is definitely bullish for gold. So listen, I just want to bring to your attention that the US dollar is losing relevance and dominance. Central banks around the world are stockpiling on physical gold, so this is no secret. And I've been saying for many years that I'm bullish on gold. So here's the price of gold over the past 20 years. If you think that you're too late to the party, I would say I doubt it. Okay, why? Because inflation will persist. Governments will continue to print money, trillions of dollars, and now there's the potential of a catalyst of gold revaluation. And to me, I believe that gold is a good way to diversify. So over the same time frame, you can see how gold has actually been outperforming the S&P 500, so stocks. So keep that in mind. Now, if you want to invest in gold, first I'll tell you that you don't have to be rich to invest in gold. There are many ways that you can do it. So I'm going to talk to you about two ways. So the first way is that you can buy physical gold. Honestly, this is very easy. Costco sells gold, but fair warning, they sell out like hotcakes. So you can buy gold bars on Costco's website, but take a look, they're usually out of stock. So these same ones, you can buy them from verified vendors on eBay. So listen, buying physical gold, it's pretty easy. However, it's not for everyone. I'm just trying to be honest. I mean, if you buy physical gold, people can rob you. Reselling it might be difficult. There's a variety of reasons why you don't want to own physical gold. Personally, I prefer to have the physical gold. It's like the crypto saying, not your keys, not your coins. If you want to buy gold and hold it for the long term, even if you want to hold it until you die and pass it along to future generations, and physical gold might be a great fit for you. But I want to give you another option that would be more practical and convenient for a lot of people. If you want to buy and sell gold quickly, like liquidity is your priority, then you're probably better off buying gold on the stock markets. Now listen, on the stock market, you can buy gold or you can buy gold mining companies. I would advise you that you do not try to pick which gold mining companies are going to be, big winners. Instead, just buy gold. That's my recommendation. Just keep it simple. To do so, a popular one is this one. So this is the ticker symbol is GLD. So I'm not trying to pump this. This is an $84 billion entity, which I have no sway over. This is the price of gold. And if you really want to buy gold mining companies, then there are ETFs for that. Okay, so listen, I want to tell you this. I want to end with this. This is very important. So gold revaluation is a real possibility, but don't do anything crazy because we don't know the timing of it. If President Trump's really going to do this, it could be in his third year or his last year, and then we could be waiting around for years for gold revaluation to happen. And in the meantime, the price of gold can dip. So we don't know. And I like real estate. I like international real estate. I like dividend-paying stocks. I like silver. I like gold a lot. However, I'm not going to go all in on gold. You want to be diversified with all this uncertainty. But with that being said, I'll tell you that I do like gold a lot because the central banks, the governments, they're going to print fiat currency like crazy. And it's just going to devalue fiat currency, and it's naturally going to push the price of gold up. That's just the way I see it. Okay, with that being said, I'll keep you updated on this whole situation. Please subscribe. I thank you for the support and wish you a very nice day. Take care.